Hey Pokemon fans, AlmightyArceus here. Wow, did we get a lot from the new Pokemon Sun and Moon trailer. The only other trailer that's made me react like this was the announcement of Mega Evolutions back in Gen 6, but it seems like we've got even bigger changes coming this way. And I'm particularly excited because they all seem plot related. The biggest reveals of this new trailer were that of the Aether Foundation, Gladion, and these new entities called Ultra Beasts. Sorry, Alolan Raticate and fake Pokemon Snap, but you'll have your day one day. With all of this content, there's so much to be speculated on, as well as some stuff that's darn well near confirmable. So I'm going to take the time to try and pull it all together. By the end of this video, we'll know more about Ultra Beasts, who the Aether Foundation really is, how Lillie is potentially important to the story, and how absolutely mind-boggling complex the plot could be for this upcoming game. I think I've solved just what's going to happen in this Pokemon Sun and Moon plot, so buckle your seatbelts because this theory is going to be quite a long, wild ride. Let's start dissecting. So there's a lot I could start with, so I'm going to first get at something relatively simple, and that's the theory that Lusamine, Lillie, and Gladion are all related to each other. By the way, sorry if I mispronounce anything. I'm not entirely sure how their names are supposed to be pronounced, but we'll go with it. This is practically confirmed based on appearance alone. All three have the same platinum blonde hair and green eyes, as well as an extremely similar complexion. To further prove their relationship, let's take a closer look at their names. Lillie's name is of course based on, the lily flower. Lilies are symbolic of purity and innocence. Remember that because that idea becomes important a little bit later, that idea of purity and innocence. Gladion's name is based on the gladiolus flower, often colloquially referred to as the sword lily. Wow, two lily-based names, with one being a more masculine and tough one for the male edgy Gladion, and the other one being more innocent and feminine for female pacifist Lillie? Seems pretty related to me. Then we have Lusamine, or Lusamine. This name is a bit more difficult to parse out. You could have Lus, which is a prefix meaning light, added to Samine, a real name that means healthy. This dissection works well with the symbolism of lilies being light flowers of purity, as well as our discussion that's upcoming. The Lus in Lusamine, or Lusamine, could also refer to the ending of Gladiolus, which is the flower Gladion's based on. With all these things combined, it's pretty safe to say that they are all related, and that Lusamine is the mother of Lillie and Gladion. Now, there's lots of questions to be asked about why none of them appear together, but to get there, we first have to do some detective work into the Aether Foundation. There's a lot we already know about the Aether Foundation. They are the artificial island that we've seen since the full picture of the Alola region came to light. They take in refugee Pokemon and Pokemon that are hurt by the likes of Team Skull. Its president, Lusamine, wants to create a safe space for all Pokemon regardless of where they're from. Its employees look cheery and are motivated to help Pokemon around the facilities. All this is fine and good, but did anyone stop to think about why they might be calling themselves the Aether Foundation? I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with rescuing Pokemon. Looking into this name might give us a hint as to what they might be up to. YouTubers Loxton and Axelian both give us a basic understanding of what Aether is. Aether was conceptualized in ancient times to make up the composition of heavenly bodies, that is, things beyond our Earth. These Poketubers do a good job connecting Aether to alchemy, as it is often considered the fifth element along with fire, water, earth, and air. Also, fun fact, the word quintessential comes from this concept. Aether is often considered pure and divine, as some sort of perfect substance that could be used to create perfect items, heal people, and even provide the secret to eternal life. Remember what Lillie symbolized? Purity, innocence, perfection? That aspect of purity and divinity and the concept of Aether definitely has something to do with the idea of Lillie and her family. It may also have something to do with the fact that Lusamine is seeking something, perhaps a true paradise for Pokemon, or something more. Something that's also important to this discussion is the otherworldly aspect of Aether. Aether itself is extraterrestrial. It can't be found on Earth. In fact, some conceptions of Aether, especially as we move forward into modern times, place Aether on another plane of existence. The ethereal plane, sometimes referred to as the astral plane, permeates the real world without necessarily interacting with it. This plane is often invisible, but it's said this is where formless spirits can dwell. When visible, things on the ethereal plane often exude light and are without a consistent form. Ethereal objects regularly do not exist within our physical reality, but these things can interact with physical reality if prompted. In the reverse, some people claim to be able to access this realm through a method called astral projection. The ethereal plane is in essence another dimension parallel to our own and is not easily accessed. If we were able to access another dimension, what would happen? Does this mean that the Aether Foundation is somehow able to open portals to other dimensions? Is that even possible? Why would they do this? Well, actually, within the Pokemon canon, it is possible. In fact, y'all seem quick to have forgotten that in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, this is regarded as a totally viable solution to a big problem. In the Delta episode, a meteor is hurtling towards Earth. The proposed way to stop it by the Devon Corporation? Thrust a rocket full of this thing called infinite energy at the meteor, which will shoot out energy similar to that of Mega Evolution, and subsequently create a wormhole to another dimension so that the meteor won't hit the Earth in this dimension. Yeah, the Delta episode was pretty crazy, but it did canonically state that creating dimensional wormholes is entirely possible in the Pokemon universe. All that it required was a little bit of infinite energy. This energy was used to power AZ's machine 3,000 years ago, and was proposed to be used for the rocket ship, which Zinnia quickly shamed away for it being immoral. As ridiculous as the name Infinite Energy sounds, it's actually entirely feasible to create. All it requires is the life force of a ton of Pokemon, hence the immorality argument. But it's not impossible to do, it has been done before. You just need access to a lot of Pokemon. In Generation 6, this was accomplished by Team Flare stealing a bunch of Pokeballs to catch a ton of Pokemon, and then using their life force to fire the weapon. Yeah, by the way, in case you forgot, tons of Pokemon died off screen. Oof. So, a person who'd want to take advantage of this technology would need access to a lot of Pokemon. Sounds like a Pokemon Sanctuary would be a great place to find a lot of Pokemon. Wonder who has one of those lying around. Oh yeah, the Aether Foundation. I believe in Sun and Moon that the Aether Foundation has the ulterior motive of opening up transdimensional portals. Why do this though? Well, because Lusamine is obsessed with finding new Pokemon. She wants to catch more than them all, and believes that she can be some sort of benevolent owner to all Pokemon. The gameplay in the new trailer tips this off in a major way that this might certainly be the case. When being introduced to Lusamine, she says this: "Even Pokemon from distant worlds, far from the Alola region, are worthy of my love." This is such a weird thing to say. She could have just said, "I want to take your Pokemon from around the world." Instead, she says Pokemon from specifically distant worlds. What other worlds are Pokemon from? We certainly aren't aware of any canonically. There are a few that are said to have come from space, but we learned of their existence on this Earth in this dimension. This hints that she's looking for Pokemon in places where Pokemon have never been discovered before. Also, the way she says they are worthy of my love adds an aspect of obsession rather than care to her character. She wants Pokemon to receive her love because they are worthy of it, not because she's providing them with help or care. She just wants them for herself because she's obsessed with collecting them and keeping them. This leads us to the huge enigma that is Ultra Beast 01. We know almost nothing about it, but what we do know now, as you will see, fits in perfectly with what has been established in these videos. The first thing we know is that UB01 comes out of some sort of transdimensional portal. Take a look at this clip from the Japanese trailer here. Really kind of has that Stranger Things vibe to it, what with the cracks to the universe around it and the fact that it's associated with a little girl. Maybe I'll make another video specifically on those facts. I believe that UB01 is a creature from the ethereal plane. The official page on UB01 states that it is made of a glass-like substance and that it never settles on a single form. Also, when it's encountered, a bright light accompanies behind it. This kind of description matches perfectly with something that exists on the ethereal plane, formless and exuding a kind of light. When entering the physical realm, as UB01 is doing here, it would likely take the form of something it encountered. The official page states that its movements look like a little girl's, and the internet has been ablaze with exactly who that is. That's the second big thing we know. UB01 looks a hell of a lot like Lillie, and it's about to be explained in huge detail. Now that we've solidified a bunch of theory, it's time to move in on the possible plot involving Team Aether and ultimately the game as a whole. Here we go. Seeking more than just the Pokemon she knew about on Earth, Lusamine, mother of Lillie and Gladion and president of the Aether Foundation, began secretly working on transdimensional projects using technology obtained from Devon Corp. While working on this project, she stumbled across Ultra Beasts, at the time formless, docile, and mysterious creatures. Lusamine was instantly obsessed with catching these Pokemon, but these creatures were intensely strong and made Pokemon almost instantly faint when encountered. To try and combat this Pokemon, Type Null came to be as a Chimera Pokemon thought to be strong enough to defeat this Ultra Beast. Gladion, wanting to impress his mother and obsessed with proving his strength, volunteered to battle with Type Null against this Ultra Beast. This was a sore misjudgment, as Type Null was still no match and Gladion was in danger. Lillie found out that her mom was fighting and trying to capture this docile creature, and she stopped the fighting between Gladion and the Ultra Beast, putting herself at risk. The formless UB-01 took the form of Lillie because of her kindness and protection, and went back into its own dimension. Upset at his failure, Gladion leaves the Foundation to join Team Skull. He thinks by being a member of this gang, he will become tougher and be able to fight the Ultra Beast again when it shows up. By contrast, Lillie is extremely upset that her mother would do this, and she leaves the Foundation to go live with Kukui. She takes with her a Zygarde core because she fears that her mom might try and use it to make a Zygarde complete form and attack the Ultra Beast again. This places everyone into their starting positions for the plot that your character will embark on in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Lillie is living with the professor for personal reasons and has a hidden creature inside of her bag. Gladion has risen the ranks to become an enforcer for Team Skull. Lusamine tries to bury her link to Ultra Beast now that it has begun opening portals throughout the Alola region and terrorizing residents. Again, this is pretty similar to Stranger Things. Also, it has the code name UB-01. Obviously, someone had to name that. I'm pretty sure the Aether Foundation did. It says in the entries that the Aether Foundation has been studying Ultra Beast, so I think there is and always has been some link between them. As you play through Sun and Moon, these facts will become more apparent to you, and you will have to figure out a way to stop the Ultra Beast from coming through. Gladion will battle you to try and get honor of fighting the Ultra Beast, but when he loses to you, he will say he obviously isn't ready because of his loss. You'll then at some point battle Lusamine. What will likely be happening at this time is because of all the dimensional wormholes created by Ultra Beasts who are popping up around the Alola region, more wormholes will pop up and the world will be at risk of collapse. Enter Lillie with her Zygarde core, which will combine with other cells in the other core to create Zygarde complete form. He will restore the environment to its natural state, and the Ultra Beast will be sent back into its old dimension. And yes, that means you won't be able to catch an Ultra Beast. I don't actually think it's going to be a Pokemon with typing or anything like that. It's kind of weird as to the mechanics we don't really know very much about yet, but we will figure those out as details come forth. I'd personally really love to see an Aether plotline play out like this. The 3 Lillie family members would represent 3 different types of Pokemon players. The Lillie kind of people, the people who have Pokemon to care for and play with in things like Pokemon Ami. The Lusamine type people who are fervent collectors of everything to the point of using game-breaking techniques like Pokesave. And those who are obsessed with battling and being the strongest trainer, like Gladion. This kind of theming would work well in the spirit of the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. This plot would also be extremely refreshing because we haven't really seen anything like this play out before. At the same time, it would be a satisfying way to make it all come together, as we've had things important to the plot like dimensional wormholes and infinite energy laid out all over the place in prior games. Of course, this theory has some pretty big questions that it leaves behind, but I'm going to try and tie these up right now. The biggest one would have to be, if the plot revolves around Zygarde and Ultra Beasts, where the heck do Solgaleo and Lunala tie in? This remains pretty unclear, but my thought is that they will be Pokemon sought after by both the Aether Foundation and Team Skull. But the plot of obtaining them would primarily focus on Team Skull until the big reveal that unveils that the Aether Foundation is responsible for Ultra Beast. I see Team Skull as less of a large resourced, fully fledged team, but more like a ragtag gang of hooligans who harass the islands. Its leader, Guzma, is resentful for not becoming an island trial captain. Similar to Gladion, he wants to prove how tough and strong he is, and his method for doing this is by trying to capture the legendary guardians of Alola, Solgaleo and Lunala. For a good chunk of the game, I think you will be confronting the hooligans of Team Skull, and the plot will lead you to believe that they are the primary antagonists. I also think that the Aether Foundation might task you with capturing the legendary beast before Team Skull does, so you can try and confront the Ultra Beast yourself. Of course, at this point in the story, you won't know anything about the Aether Foundation's true origins. The main thing I'm unclear of is how you will confront the Ultra Beast once you capture the legendary guardian Solgaleo or Lunala. I'm glad I waited to release this video because it seems like this might be slightly clarified by this new trailer that just dropped. It seems like Solgaleo and Lunala might be able to traverse wormholes and other dimensions, so you might use them to travel into the other dimension that Ultra Beasts are in, possibly to battle them. You may try to battle the Ultra Beast to no avail, and then Lillie will save the day with perfect Zygarde, and then you battle Lusamine after her plans have been foiled. Or you might not get the chance to battle the Ultra Beast at all, instead having to fight Lusamine to try and get to the Ultra Beast with Lillie using Solgaleo or Lunala. And then Lillie could save the day with perfect Zygarde again, closing the holes and talking peacefully to the Ultra Beast. Maybe she'll even sacrifice herself or something, since UB-01 is bonded with her. Either way, I predict that the Aether Foundation will compel you to try and capture one of the legendary guardians, and at the same time, Team Skull's Guzma will be attempting to capture one in order to have the strongest Pokemon possible and to become a trail captain. Perhaps something more menacing, I'm not really sure. Now that we've gotten some of the biggest stuff out of the way, let's get at a few smaller questions. One is, what is that big freaking diamond on Lusamine's dress? I think in all likelihood it's some sort of Z crystal, though for what Pokemon I'm not really sure. The coloration is a polished black with a dark green hue on the underside. This to me would be some sort of dark type Z crystal, meaning she has some sort of dark type on her team she'd use with the Z move. Very interesting that despite being from such a pure organization that she would have a dark type Z crystal. This might be even more evidence to suggest that the Aether Foundation is more sinister than it seems. Let's cap this video off with a more fun question. Is that COLRESS in the background? Oh my god! To be honest, it might damn well be, and that would be so cool to see him here, not to mention work perfectly into my theory about transdimensional portals. COLRESS says that he is concerned with the hidden strengths and powers of Pokemon. His research in Generation 5 is quoted as such. The theme of my research is bringing out the power of Pokemon. Bringing out the power of Pokemon. Is it possible to bring out their maximum strength through the bond they share with their trainers, or is there some other different method? Interestingly enough, that theme of research ties together a lot of the themes around Generation 5, 6, and 7, what with the introduction of Mega Evolution and Z Crystals, which are crazy amazing powers that require strong bonds between trainers and Pokemon. Yup, just like the Delta episode, lots of foreshadowing. We shouldn't take things for granted like this. In Generation 6, COLRESS was apparently around at some point, extremely close to the ultimate weapon in Geosenge. He told a hiker on Route 10 that the stones outside Geosenge emit some kind of special energy. Energy we and COLRESS both know, of course, is the remnants of infinite energy, the most important thing for creating transdimensional portals. So it seems entirely possible that COLRESS could go work at the Aether Foundation to study the potential of Pokemon and create these energy portals. We know he's had questionable ethics before, what with working with Team Plasma, and he's wanted to tap into this unknown energy force between humans and Pokemon since Generation 5. So this would be the perfect opportunity for him to do that. Also, and this might be a little bit of a stretch here, but I think it's probably possible that COLRESS is the husband of Lusamine. I mean, they have the same sort of hair and eye color, plus both have an affirmation for the bonds between trainers and Pokemon, but I might be stretching there. Also, I mean, they could be like brother and sister. That would also be weird now that I'm suggesting the husband thing. Oh my god. Oh. Anyways, that's all I got, and yeah, it's a lot, but honestly, I think a lot of this has the potential to be true. But what do you think? Do you agree, disagree, have other theories? Leave comments down below to tell me your opinions. Also, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. I'm AlmightyArceus, and this has been a Pokemon Theory video. See you soon!